Middletown Pride. I am Jodi DAndrea, the host of Transgender Coalition. And we also have here one of the hosts of Trans Talk After Dark, which is Angel Simone down there. We are based out of Youngstown, Ohio. They are based out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, to be more particular, Flower Mound, Texas.
Flower Mound.
Flower Mound. I'm sorry, Flower Mound. We have girls from all over the country here. We've got girls in Connecticut. You may know Christine. We got girls from Oklahoma. We got girls from Arkansas, Ohio, and Missouri and stuff. So I am the host, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what it's like for me to be transgender. This has been something in my life that I knew that I was missing since I was little. I always knew that there was something different about me, just like a lot of you are sitting there thinking, damn, we're not alone. And you're not. We've all been there, and every one of our transitions is different. And the best thing for me to be transgender is groups like this. When I started and I came out, there was, and we do have transgender boys too. Bonnie is here too, my son. I am so sorry, son. I did not overlook you. I'm sorry. I love you. And we all are different forms of life and stuff. And when I first started, there was no group like this. And I think groups like this are very useful to the community, especially the transgender community. We all are kind of a crutch to each other. And so I want to welcome you guys and thank you for letting the Transgender Coalition and Trans Talk After Dark be a part of your area. And we hope that you will come join us on a Thursday for us and a Sunday for Trans Talk After Dark. You don't have very many resources to speak to like-minded individuals that have the same fears and questions that we all do when we started. I am going to give the gauntlet to Carole. You could tell a little bit about yourself and stuff like that.
Thank you. What I'd like to say is a very similar story to Jodi's. Early on in my life, I knew what I wanted to do, how I wanted to express myself, but boyhood got in the way. It soon became apparent to my parents that this was going to get in the way of my life. And in the 60s, it was kind of tough to convey the ideas that I had inside my head about who I really was. What I did was I ran away from the world. I ran into a job that took me around the world, took me to places I had never dreamt of ever seen. But in all that, I hid. I hid from myself. I hid from my family. I created a family. And I hid from them as well. It took me to a very dark place. And interestingly enough, I've recently heard a discussion about misdiagnoses. Early on, I was misdiagnosed as an alcoholic. From there, it took me into depression, and I started therapy, 2 decades ago now, for depression. And it was a dark place. Drugs, not my own choice, doctor's drugs prescribed to me that took my brain into dark and lonely places. And when one day, after writing my heart out in a book, I finally stood up and I said, you know what? I remember where my journey started, way back in the single digits of my life, when I really knew who I was. And from there, I started talking to my doctors. I started becoming honest with myself and my journey resumed. And today I'm here and I'm enjoying my life again. Thank you.
Thank you, Carole. Cassie.
As you can tell, I'm trying to sew a costume for Halloween. First attempt, please beware, this is not going to look all that great. Anyhow, I'm an over-the-road truck driver. I've been driving semis now going on 24 years. I came out recently about 3 years ago, and it's been a challenge, to say the least, in this field. But I wouldn't have my life any other way. Being trans, you know, I wish I didn't. I wish I wasn't sometimes. But we all can't help who we are. Life is hard and unexpected. And you just have to roll with the punches. If anybody has any qualms about transitioning, I suggest y'all really seek a counselor, because I wish I did earlier on in life than I did. So that's all. I mean,
Thank you,
nice to meet
Cassie.
y'all.
Thank you, Cassie. Phoenix.
So I was diagnosed at a young age. Back then it was called, I don't remember what it was called back then. But the advice was to my parents was to put me in sports, and 80% of kids will grow out of it, right? So it didn't work. So I developed coping mechanisms to help me deal with my dysphoria, which were namely being a workaholic and a perfectionist, and sort of OCD, hyper-organizational skills. And those helped me in my various career paths. I was able to do well in the corporate business world, and I built a few successful companies for myself. The things that I learned and practiced in that, in my professional life, I started to apply to my personal life. If I could encourage all of my employees that they could achieve anything they set their minds to, there's no reason why I couldn't. And one of the biggest things that I used to try to help the dysphoria was religion. I was a active member of the Christian community, and I helped build many organizations and nonprofit ministries and things of that nature. And I was a Christian worship leader for a couple decades across a few churches. And I was expecting that somehow religion would fix me. And eventually I came to the point that I am who I am. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks of me. You only get one life to live. And so I took the principles that I applied to everything else in life, and I applied them to my transition. So I just grabbed it by the horns. I found the best therapist I could find, and I found the best surgeon I could find, and I put everything I had into it. And so that was about 2017, 2018 when I started. And so far things are going really well. Like anything else in life, there's challenges, but every challenge is an opportunity to overcome and be successful. So I'm grateful for the community I have. I've had some amazing trans men and women who have helped coach me along and been there for me every step of the way. So I'm grateful for them, and I just love and appreciate this community. I encourage each and every one of you to embrace those around you and to be there to support them and to be open to advice and consultation from people who have more experience, who've already been there.
Thank you, Phoenix. I love that. Thank you. Jeana. Or Jeana, I'm sorry.
Oh, let's see here. I've always felt this way, and going through life, I stayed busy also, and I worked constantly, and to keep this off my mind. And I went 4 years without even thinking about it or anything. I thought, well, maybe I'm cured. And then one day, I just couldn't pull the box off fast enough. And I don't know, it just come and go and everything, just something I've always fought. And I just recently retired. I'm just working my way through this right now, and I'm really enjoying it. And I can finally sit back and look at myself, and I like what I see in the mirror. That's about all I can say.
Thank you, Jeana.
Yeah.
Son, Vonnie.
My name is Roni. I knew I was different when I was little. My mom knew. My mom never tried to push me in the closet. She always told me that just be me, be who I am. I'm also a truck driver. I do heavy haul. Right now I'm driving, so I really can't look at the camera. I'm gonna stay focused on the road and what I'm doing. I've been doing this for about 27 years, 25, 26. Recently came out as a trans man about 3-4 months ago. I have a very good support, my friends and family, friends here and my family. A lot of people who are helping me keep me on track. I have questions, so did it's a really good support system here, and I like it. I love it. Don't get judged or anything like that. Just be. Put on me. That's pretty much it.
Thank you, Vonnie. For those of you that don't know, that Vonnie has adopted me as his trans mom, and I was very honored to be his trans mom. He's a very special person. I love him to death, and sometimes I forget to mention him and stuff, but he knows I love him. Love you, son. Brooke, if you're willing to. Brooke. Okay, Brooke is not there. Angel. Oh, wait a minute. Brooke's coming. Hold on. I see you're unmuting.
Hi. I'm a post-op transgendered woman, she, her pronouns. Basically, my transition is, it was a vital for me as a human being to function, to exist, and ultimately to be happy. I had to make a decision to move forward and be true to myself versus being in denial of who I am. So I took the plunge and I moved fast forward through everything. And today I'm happy to say it's been probably the best decision I've made. I'm finally at peace and happy. And that's really my story. It's really no different than most trans women.
Thank you, Brooke. Angel.
Hello, everyone. Hope you're all having a good night. So I had a little bit of a different backstory than most trans women. I kind of took baby steps on my path to who I am today. My family
mostly the women in my family knew that I was different from a very early age. I didn't like all the typical boy stuff. I didn't care about getting dirty. I didn't care about playing wrestling with the other boys. I didn't care about going out in the front yard and playing football with my dad. Had no interest in it. I wanted to play in my sister's room with her Barbies. I wanted to watch my mom cook in the kitchen. I wanted to do all of the stereotypical female stuff. But, you know, I noticed that I was different than all the other little boys, but I didn't know why. I didn't know what the cause of it was. I didn't understand it, much like anybody else around me. They didn't understand it either. As I got older, I noticed that I started having an attraction to boys and not girls. Although I tried to cover it up, I dated girls throughout grade school. Because I guess because I thought it was the right thing to do, what I was supposed to do, supposed to date girls, grow up, get married to a woman, have kids, and all that stuff. Of course, into high school, I came out as a gay male and started dating guys. Shortly thereafter, I started going to the gay bars around the area with a bunch of my friends and got involved in the drag queen community. And that, I think, helped me out a lot. It really helped me to express my femininity. And it kind of helped me to grow in a way, because that was my first experience of dressing, of really out and proud, dressing as a female, of having boobs on my chest, wearing makeup on a regular basis. And while I don't necessarily consider myself a drag queen performer, I more consider myself a female entertainer nowadays. But they did teach me a lot of things about family, togetherness. A lot of the makeup that I use on a daily basis to hide the features in my face that I don't like, I learned from drag queens and how they do their makeup. So that helped me out a lot. And I know that after a while, I started to feel an intense desire to not just have detachable boobs. I wanted real ones. Despite how much I tried to push it as far back in my head as I could and not accept that I'm not a gay male. I'm not just a drag queen. And admit that I'm a transgender woman. And I think it really took, during a time when I was working for Whole Foods Market. One of my friends that worked in the floral department really kind of helped to push me out of the trans closet, really. She encouraged me to be myself, and she was just a cisgender woman. She encouraged me to be myself, and lo and behold, I started dressing full-time at work, parted ways with the men's restroom, and from then on out, I led my life as a female. I had my name legally changed in 2012, March. I started living full-time as a female probably about September of 2014. And then I started hormone replacement therapy in March of 2015. And June of 2016, I had my gender marker legally changed on all my documents, my license, on my social security records, my birth certificate, everything. And then July of 2018, breast augmentation surgery. And now coming up here in December, well, it was supposed to happen back in May, but due to a complication on the insurance part not sending proper documentation to the doctor so they could fill it out, my surgery had to be postponed to this December for bottom surgery. And I'm very super excited about it. I have wonderful insurance that's paying for everything. And I couldn't be happier as a transgender woman because I get to express myself. And I know that there's a lot of people out there who are just coming up in the trans community themselves. And I didn't have a trans mom to guide me in the ways of being transgender and guide me through the transition process. I pretty much had to do all that on my own. That was my own legwork. But I have no qualms about sharing what I've learned throughout my transition with those who need it. I've got several people under my wing that call me mom. And I'm perfectly happy with that. I don't mind playing the model role, not one bit. Because growing up as a child, I was the oddball out. I was the unpopular kid. I was bullied, teased, and picked on, and shoved, and belittled. And I grow up, I get older, all of a sudden I'm the popular one. And it's like, ha, 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 ha. Stick it in your face. So a lot of the things that I didn't have to show me the ways, if I can share that with somebody else to make their transition just a little bit easier and more comfortable, then I will gladly share any information and knowledge I have to make someone's life a little bit easier, because it's hard enough out there on your own. So, you know, bringing everybody together as a family is something very important to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Angel. I'm going to have my wife speak a little bit. She's not transgender, but I think she can contribute as well as far as being an ally to the community, because maybe there might be some of you that are married out there and you haven't told your spouse, or you've told your spouse, and you could actually see what it's like to have a supportive spouse. So Lynn.
Thank you.
Welcome.
It's not easy. I can't, speak for other people, but Jodi was hiding it a lot. And a matter of fact, when we started dating and that, I used to tease that I was going to buy a pink shirt and a pink tie. You're not getting pink. So my son and I would tease, and we went in the store and we picked out a pink tie and a pink shirt, and we come running up, and it says, "Here, look at this." You're not getting me pink. So it's like when I found the pictures on the tablet, and then, we were talking about something else, and I'm like, oh, by the way, I saw the pictures on the tablet. So I don't know. I can't say that it was a shock, but it was like, it just didn't make sense. Fast forwarding a time, this is, you were all, upset when I would say you were driving a purple van and you didn't want anything pink. I says, and now you are saying that you want pink and that you're a girl. Okay, this doesn't make sense. You know, why did you? Well, I guess I was in denial. But, you know, for those who haven't shared it with your wife, just listening to all the stories and that, you know, you come to the point that you're not going to be happy that living as a guy if you're feeling like a girl and vice versa. So you might as well come out with it. You have to take the gamble that they're going to be on board or they're not going to be on board. And I've heard of other ones that, you know, they went through a divorce or they broke up with their boyfriend, girlfriend over it. It's like, you know, the alternative is to not live a happy life. So what, you're going to be mean and grumpy to this person that you were holding on to? So, and, you know, and all these girls and guys here are much happier now that they are dressing and, you know, being themselves, even though the physical body may not be, you know, the way that they were born. So it's just a gamble you have to take. You know, you have to weigh it out. And, you know, when it's time for, you know, that female or that guy to come out, then, you know, they have to come out.
Thank you, Lynn. That was very well said. Thank you. As you can see, before I give it to Christine, as you can see, there's a theme here. And the theme is that we all are family oriented and we're all supportive of one another. And as you've seen, we have people at the very beginning of their transition, and we have people that are at the very end of their transition. And it's amazing, and anybody in between. And it's groups like this that will help. Okay, Christine, go ahead, take us on home.
Thank you, Jodi. I'm Christine Rebstock. Back in May, Mayor Florsheim appointed me to the LGBTQIA+ Commission. I knew at about 12 years old back in 1979 who my true self was. We didn't have much information about gender or transgender people that were period back then. This I was too scared to tell my parents. As I went to college, I was part of a national championship team. And I went on to be elected in 4 bowling Hall of Fames for superior performance throughout the years. I also covered major league and minor league sports as a member of the media. I also competed in major league sporting events as an athlete. I made the wrong decision to hide Christine for so long. Age 52 back in 2019. I had to let her out. Telling my spouse that was rough to say the least. As TDOR is this coming Saturday, 40% of people in our community attempt suicide. I'm one of them. Obviously, I failed. I'm glad I failed. Because today, things have gotten a lot better. My spouse is great. I thank her so much. The bowling community, when I came out last year, everyone was fantastic to me. All-time greats of the game reached out to message me. People who I don't exchange Christmas cards with, some of the first people to message me, kind words of support. I went to school with way back when have been supportive of me. I've worked at Middlesex Health, which is very supportive of our Pride community here in town and in Middlesex County. Coming out, that was a seamless transition. I'm the first openly transgender woman to be working in our laboratory. I've been there over a quarter century. And as our medical director said, I might be the only person to transition in the whole health system, period. And the hospital has asked me to join the gender committee. And Middlesex Health has one of the leading transgender health programs and care programs, not only in central Connecticut, but I think in all the East Coast. I want to thank Jodi and our admins and moderators for letting us here in Middletown reach out, got to know a lot of these women and guys, and become good friends. And I thank everyone for your friendship. It means the world to me. I want everyone outside our friendly little confines in central Connecticut, people throughout the country, the stories. And remember to keep checking back with our Middletown Pride YouTube channel and Facebook page, because Pride isn't celebrated for just 30 days each June. Pride is celebrated all year round. And thank you for watching.
Thanks, Christine. Bye, Connecticut. Thank you. We love you. Stay
Bye.
safe.
Bye-bye.